Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about.
You're listening to Where You Live with Gene Sullivan.
Welcome back. I'm Gene Sullivan, and I'm with my guest, Dan Greenstein with Bernick Lifson, and we will be back with our topic of what's happening with an association here in Hennepin County. But like to let you know, first of all, of course, I'm broadcasting, as always, from the True North Painting Studios, and the show is brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. As an American Family agent, Kim believes that there is so much more to insurance than the policy itself. It's about providing you with dependable protection and services. Kim believes that trust and credibility can't be demanded. It can only be earned by what you say and what you do. Give her a call at 651-482-1598 and tell her Gene sent you. It's time now to hear from the Minnesota Multifamily Association. The MHA Minute is brought to you by Start to Finish Maintenance Contractors. Start to Finish provides 24-hour service for all your home and business maintenance needs. Call Start to Finish today at 952-259-1219 for your home, for your business, for your peace of mind.
If you're renting out a property for the first time, there's a lot you need to know so that you can do it successfully and, frankly, keep yourself out of trouble. Luckily, there's a statewide resource with all the tools you need to run your new business successfully. In fact, the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association regularly holds a seminar called Accidental Landlord, specifically designed for people who are renting out a property for the first time. They also have residential leases, security deposit agreements, a lead disclosure, and lots of other forms. They even have brochures on the principles of successful property management and the eviction process that you can download for free. So if you want to know more about the Accidental Landlord Seminar or other classes about owning, managing, or maintaining anything from a single unit to a growing apartment portfolio, visit the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association's website, mmha.com. That's two M's, mmha.com.
So, Dan, in the last break, we came to the end of that last segment, and you said that in this particular case, with the all parties concerned, there was a mediation that took place, and everybody agreed to what would take place and how to try and take care of everybody's concerns, but only one person did not sign that agreement. That was the owner of the unit who was renting, and things started to unwind, and then things started to escalate again. What's happened from there?
Well, as things escalated, we realized that we couldn't just sit around and wait for the owner of the unit to come up with his own version of soundproofing, and it just didn't seem like our settlement was going to be viable any longer. The tenants, the Somali family that is renting the unit from one of the owners in the association, their attorney came up with the idea that maybe the association would pay them some money and for an early buyout of their lease, and they would simply move out. And what we've learned, they made up a specific proposal whereby they asked the association to pay them a fairly large sum of money, and they would start looking for a new place to move, and they would have until this coming June to find a new place and actually move.
Now, it's always interesting to me, Dan, that in cases like this where there's always some offer of settlement, it always seems to be certainly big enough that it really hurts, but not big enough that it allows someone to say, hey, I'd rather take my chances by going to court. They're looking for a payoff.
That is correct. Well, it's interesting. When you think about it, money in the world of lawsuits and such, money is a pretty important factor one way or the other. Now, in this particular case, it would never occur to me to ask the Somali family to move out, but in this circumstance where it was actually their idea and they were willing to move, for some sum of money, I guess, once again, money is a valid way to try and settle the dispute.
Yeah. And in cases like this, it behooves people that are on the boards of their respective HOAs that they need to not put personal feelings in the way, but to take a look at financially what is going to be in the best interests of the association. Is that not correct?
Absolutely correct. Now, it's interesting you say that because the association would be covered by their master policy of insurance if they were sued under the fair housing laws for this type of discrimination. Now, even though the association and the board didn't really do anything wrong, they simply ended up in the middle, I think it's pretty obvious that if a lawsuit would be brought either by the owner of the unit or the Somali family that's renting the unit, they would bring it against not only the neighbors that they've had this running dispute with, but they would most assuredly bring in the association as a party as well.
Yeah.
And in kind of weighing that factor, the association looks at their master policy of insurance. The out-of-pocket deductible is $5,000. So in many respects, if you looked only at the money, it would probably make some sense just to let the suit go forward, file the claim with your insurance company, let them come in and appoint an attorney to defend you, let them either go to trial or work out a settlement. In some sense, that does make that would be a reasonable decision. But this association board is looking beyond simply just the dollars and cents. They are hoping that the matter can truly be resolved, not only for right now, but going out into the future. And I think they're willing to spend more than the $5,000 deductible if they can find a really good solution to the problem.
Let me ask you this. We've got about 2.5 minutes left with the show. One of the things that I thought about here earlier is, there is the Volunteer Protection Act of 1997. Would that play or have any part in this particular situation in protecting, in this particular case, here's a nonprofit organization, the association, who can't necessarily control the acts of one or two individuals in the association?
Well, the board of directors is already protected from personal liability by virtue of sitting on the board of these nonprofit associations. Right. So they already are protected in the same way a volunteer would be protected under the Volunteer Protection Act. Yeah. So they don't even need that because the association governing documents and our laws for condominium and townhome associations in Minnesota already offer them that same protection.
Okay.
Now, if somebody had volunteered to be on an architectural committee or a landscaping committee or a meet your neighbor committee at the association, and it was alleged that they did something in violation of the law, you are absolutely right. The Volunteer Protection Act would jump in and protect them. Yeah.
In this particular case, I think, as I mentioned to you before we went on the air here too, here's a case if Boy Scouts of America, as an example, did not like the acts of someone, they can tell them, hey, you know what, you're out of the organization. Really hard for an HOA to do that when the people that are acting up are people that own a home in the unit themselves. They can't necessarily divest them so easily.
That's a good point. One of the things that people say to me often, or they'll raise the issue for a board, is this person, one of the owners, continually violates the rules and regulations of the association. Can't we kick them out or evict them? And unfortunately, the answer is no. They own that unit, and the association has the right to fine them and take other actions such as going to court, but they cannot evict them or kick them out of the unit.
Well, Dan, that's all the time we have. Thanks for taking your time to be with us today.
My pleasure, Gene.
Folks, thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you here next week on Where You Live.